right, it's 9:34, still ahead on Good Morning Washington. The top paint trends for 2017 and the best tips to revitalize your walls. We'll be right back. Your walls.
Baby, take control now. We can't even slow.
All right, guys, whether you're moving to a new home or renovating as part of your spring cleaning, a splash of color always goes a long way. Here with the year's top paint trends, along with several do-it-yourself tips for your home makeover, is Victor Tirondola, CEO of Manor Works Painting. Welcome, Victor.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so we're going to have a little fun because I love painting. Sometimes I tell people that I paint, and they're like, what, do you mean like paintings? I'm like, no, I like painting the walls. So let's talk first about color. What is hot this year, and what are we seeing as some of the trends?
Well, the two top colors, one for Benjamin Moore is Shadow, which is more of a blue-gray, and Sherwin-Williams' top color of the year is Poised Taupe, where they took brown and gray and they put them together.
Something like what we're seeing here?
Yes, this is the Sherwin-Williams color of the year.
Okay, very good. And I can see how this could go with a lot of different things. So when it comes to picking a color, though, sometimes if folks are moving into a new home, everything is in boxes, they have no idea, they just know that they want to paint the walls and freshen things up. Where do you start? How do you pick your color?
Well, where you should start first is this the carpet that you're going to stay with? Is this the bedspread that you're going to stay with? Are these the pillows? You need to pick those items first. Window treatments. It's much easier to pick a color when you have thousands of different options than with certain items where you only have 10 or 11 items to pick from.
Or at the very least, maybe have a vision and know what's coming down the line.
Yes,
and
correct.
What's close to, or to have a swatch, because that's the thing. You go into some of these stores and you can get a lot of these little swatches and hold them up to the wall, but sometimes it's still a little tough, I guess.
What's nice on the back of those, they'll also give you other options to pick from. They give you colors that go with those colors.
That is nice.
And you want to always put a sample on the wall too.
The complementary colors. Okay, so once you have that figured out, you're moving into a house that already has paint on the wall. How do you prep it, and how do you feel about primer?
Well, first what you have to do is you have to make sure you prep the room. You have to make sure you cover everything. The more covering you do, the faster the job is going to be. You're going to have to deal with dust and drips. No matter how good you are, even being a professional, you still drip. And then you also want to make sure that you use tapes on the items. Are you painting the trim? You have to tape the trim off. Are you not painting the trim? Then order is important. You want to make sure that you use a light on an angle on the walls. That way you don't put a lamp there, turn the lamp on, all of a sudden it shoots across the wall and you see all these nail pops you didn't see before.
Attention to detail is so important. Okay, so putty and paint, make sure you tape. What about, a lot of times folks get lost on the walls. What about the ceiling and the trim? I mean, you've got your trim here painted white.
Snowbound.
Snowbound. Okay,
yes,
so there's
correct.
A lot of different whites.
Yes, correct.
Okay, so talk to us about how to figure out what's going to be that complementary color that you're going to go with for the trim or the ceiling.
Well, as I told you before, the wall is a brown-gray together. The trim can bring a color out of this wall. Your ceiling can bring a color out of this wall that you might not be looking for. And if you decide to skip it, a lot of people have the builder's grade creams. That'll bring a color out of this wall that you don't like. So you want to make sure, and any paint store that you walk in, a Benjamin Moore, Sherwin-Williams, a Behr, a Home Depot, they'll give you a spread of colors that were specifically designed to go with one another.
Right. Let's talk about painting. You've got some tools here.
Yes.
Show us the right techniques.
Okay.
So you've
First,
got your roller, right?
You want to make sure you don't put too much paint on the roller, and you want to make sure that the edges, there's not too much paint on the edges, and pressure is very important. So I don't want to go ahead and push real hard. You want to make sure that you're just applying it here, right? So now once it goes on, it really doesn't matter once you first apply it, but then you want to go, it's called a dry roll.
Right.
You go over it nice and light. See how you get that tight stipple?
Right.
That real tight stipple, it's not gloppy, there's no marks from the ends of the rollers, it's not real drippy, and you do section at a time. So I complete this section, then I move on to this section, then I move on to this section, and then I move on to that section.
Doing in sections, and again, I've seen people go zigzag a little bit so that they're, again, covering some of the...
You can, but you have to make sure when you go zigzag, you can leave cross marks on the wall.
Okay, and real quick, what about the brush?
The brush is very important. With the first coat, it doesn't really matter. You can roll first and then brush. But for the second coat, you always want to brush first because you don't know how big the brush mark's going to be. And when you bring the brush up, you want to make sure you twist your hand to get it into the corner. And the molding is going to make the line for you. Okay, so you get the brush in the corner and drag it across.
Oh,
See?
okay.
See how wide that is?
Exactly.
Then what I would do is I would come back with the roller once the line was completely cut, and you can
smooth
roll
it out.
right nice and close.
Very nice.
If you do it the other way around, you're going to have a thick brush
Right.
stroke.
Victor, if people want more information?
Visit us on our Facebook page or manorworks.com.
And I like that. See, that's just it. It's just paint, people. So paint. If you make a mistake, repaint. Right, Victor?
Exactly,
We're called
exactly.
Victor. Yeah. Still ahead on Good Morning Washington, guys. It's National Nutrition Month, and we're